Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Wherever you're hailing from, welcome to OpenShift TV. I am Chris Short, Principal Technical Marketing Manager at Red Hat here on the OpenShift team. I am joined today, and my Zoom is like acting really weird all of a sudden. Miguel, tell me if something's wrong, but yeah, so Ramon's doing that cheesy grin that's like, oh yeah, something's very quirky and hacky with your Zoom session thingy, Chris. And that just happened when I turn around too. Fun. So please, Miguel and Ramon, we're going to be talking about MTA, the Migration Toolkit for Applications. Please feel free to introduce yourselves, and I will try to fix this video issue I'm having.
Okay, so, my name is Miguel Perez Colino. I'm based in Spain, and I'm product manager for Migration Toolkit for Applications. And we're working on helping customers understand their applications better and bring them to open source platforms, whether it is Linux, OpenJDK, JBoss, or containers on OpenShift. That's the goal. So that's me. Ramon, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Ramon Roman. I'm a senior architect from Iberia Consulting, Red Hat Iberia Consulting, and I'm specialized on big application migration projects, also application development, DevOps, and so on and so forth.
Awesome. So it sounds like I'm joined by a powerhouse team of Red Hatters here. Is my video better now? Looks like it to me.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I don't know what happened there. That was weird, right? Like I'm like this close to having all the components needed to finally put like a DSLR in the chain here. So like this webcam, I know it just feels like it's on its last legs, right? Like it's like I know I'm about to get replaced, so I'm gonna give you as much problems as I can. All right, so Miguel, you wanted to kick this off with like an overview kind of thing, I believe, right?
Yeah. Let's
please
have
feel free.
Let's have first. Let me share my screen so you could see it.
Woohoo! I can see it.
Okay, so initially
Awesome.
Marcus Nagel was going to join us, but he got sick.
Last minute,
man. I hope he gets better soon. So I really thank Ramon for joining last minute. So everything is going to be a bit like bumpy. So if it's bumpy, please understand that we we are doing this the best we can with some certain last minute changes. But I know Ramon has a lot of experience in the field helping customers migrate applications. So I appreciate him joining, and I appreciate the comments he's going to provide on how to use MTA. So the talk, analyze and modernize your apps with MTA the right way. No pixie dust included. Okay, so this is very important because some customers are trying to containerize applications, and they're getting it just like they are, and they're putting them into containers, and then all the technical depth that were there is still there. And suddenly the problems just get bigger. So we don't want that. We want the problems to get smaller. Containers are multipliers. So if you multiply for something that is negative, you will get even more negative. So it's very important to go positive before getting into containers. So let's get positive. What are the situations that we normally help the customers with? Well, some customers have found themselves that the latest version of Oracle JDK is not free anymore, and they have to pay for it, and they're considering alternatives. Well, we're here to help with OpenJDK, also with other application servers, JEE, that are complied with the standard JEE. If you want to move them to JBoss Enterprise Application Server, which is our version of an application server that is JEE compliant, we are there to help. Customers are using Tomcat, but they want to be supported. Customers using Spring Boot, customer using community libraries that are not supported, and they're finding themselves in situations that are like weird because it's like, how do I keep this running? Or last but not least, also Apache Camel. There's this project that does integration patterns that they have released their version 3, which is a major release oriented to containers, and it has a ton of super sexy features. Well, we are there also to help. And of course, if you're moving into containers, breaking down monoliths, and doing some agile integration, this is about it. This is your case. If you are in one of these cases, then MTA is here to help. Okay. So before that, we have like a lot of tools in the tooling portfolio to help doing the migration, the whole journey. So from the first exploratory phase in which you want to know what workloads do I have running, sometimes I don't know them, sometimes I don't, to a session in which you design how you're going to do the migration, and you find which applications are most suitable with Pathfinder, for example, to the moment you really deploy and start migrating. We have tools all along the way. They are all open source. They are all available out there. And of course, if you want to know anything about this, send us an email at migrate@redhat.com, and we'll happily listen to you. So this time we're going to talk about migration toolkit for applications, which is to analyze Java code and be able to do some migrations. So I'm stopping sharing and let Ramon take the stage. So Ramon, the stage is yours.
Okay, just a second. Let me share my screen. Something was wrong.
Uh-oh. When was the last time you updated Zoom? Oh, okay, here we go.
Oh, well, actually today.
Okay, good.
I took care of that. I came prepared.
Yeah, I did the same thing right before you jumped on the air.
So are you seeing my screen right now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get to it. Well, migration toolkit for application. First of all, I want to say the tool has been around for a while. Maybe some people are familiar with it with other names. For example, RAMT, Red Hat Application Migration Toolkit, which is a bit long, if you ask me. And even WindUp, which was the original project from where this originated from. I, for myself, have been using it for years for large scale migration projects. And by large scale, I mean hundreds or even thousands of applications. And I gotta say, this tool has been key for our success. So what is it? It is an automated application analysis tool. The idea is to be able to analyze both binaries and source code from application. And what it does is that it lets you know the gap between a source technology, for example, WebSphere or WebLogic, or even older versions of EAP, and the target technology, which usually is EAP7, but there can be other cases. And actually determine the effort you will have to invest in order to migrate the application. So as I said, it's pretty useful in the case of large-scale migration projects, because with getting the individual effort per each application and aggregating the information, you get basically a taste of the effort, or at least the technical effort, that a migration project might require. There are other things involved as well, related to processes and organization themselves, but it gives you a very good taste of how things may go along in the future. So from my experience, as I said, I've been involved in lots of projects using the tool, but I'm going to share like a couple of cases or anecdotes that I think explain pretty well what the tool is useful for. For example, I had this public administration customer. They had a custom architecture which was tightly coupled with WebLogic, and they were saying that it was impossible to run these applications anywhere but WebLogic, actually. So they tried to migrate to EAP by themselves several times without success. They tried with external providers and also unsuccessful. And they came to us. They were really interested in moving towards EAP7. And well, we used MTA. We were able to detect where the coupling points with WebLogic were. And we changed the code exactly where it was necessary and deployed these applications successfully in EAP7. But well, the tool is not only for EAP. I mean, there's this other case. We had a big retail customer that wanted to move away from Mesosphere DCOS to OpenShift, and they had their applications already containerized, and they were using Spring Boot, but they were using Oracle JDK. So they were interested in moving into OpenShift and start using OpenJDK at the same time. So we used MTA to help us identify any potential risks that might arise during that migration. And also, well, to determine if these applications were actually cloud ready, because I've seen, I've seen things you wouldn't believe related to cloud readiness in supposedly cloud ready applications. So it helped to, mitigate the risk of the migration itself. So let's get to it. There are many ways in which the MTA can be used. The most usual and the most straightforward will be the CLI. So, as I said, pretty straightforward. You point where your artifacts are, and you provide several analysis parameters. For example, the source runtime and the target runtime, and you just run it. And as an output, you get a detailed HTML report that I think we're going to see a bit more about later. The cool thing about the CLI is that it allows to integrate this kind of analysis within your existing CI/CD pipelines. Again, with the examples, I had this other customer, was a big one, retailer, and they had set up Bamboo pipelines for application analysis on demand for their developers, so they could just run an application analysis following the corporate guidelines for that without having to install any other tools to do it. And this kind of integration with CI/CD pipelines can be done by using either the CLI directly. You provide an agent with the MTA binary install, and there you go. Or if you don't have the time or don't want to do that, you can also integrate the MTI analysis within your Maven build. We do have a Maven plugin, which is seamless to integrate within your Maven builds. So there's that for the CLI. We also have a web console that lets you launch this application analysis on demand in case you don't want to integrate it, your application analysis within your CI/CD pipelines. You can do it in a more standalone fashion. And using the web application the web application or the web console is especially interesting when you want to have a centralized place to store your analysis results, or also for running, for example, live demos in which you have to have some sort of graphical interface to make things simpler. So one cool thing about the web console is that it lets you navigate directly into your analysis reports in a more straightforward way. The idea is for these reports is to gather like a lot of information about your applications. Among this information, you will get, for example, like we were seeing, the effort estimation based on story points. With that, you will get an idea of which are the most complicated applications to move to the target platform and which are the easiest, which is a metric that can be used in order to maybe schedule the whole migration process. Also, you will get information about application dependencies, for example. And for me, one of the coolest features is that you get a hint on how to resolve the different issues that might arise right into your code. From the web console, you can navigate around your code and get hints of how the different issues can be resolved straight into the code itself. So the idea of this tool is to provide a solution for each one of these issues that it detects. And that is done, detecting the issues and providing the solution is based and is done in a set of rules, based on a series of rules that we have been feeding to the MTA for years, actually. And not out of thin air, it's based on our own experience on large-scale migration. These rules that has been fed by Red Hat, by the community, by everyone that has something to say about migrating applications, Java EE or Java applications in general. If you find that something is missing in this rule set, you can add it by yourself, and that's the way it has been built along the years. So even if you find the case in which you have something that is specific to a certain customer, you can build a custom rule It is very easy to build them just using XML. And if you happen to build something that is generic and that can be reused, you can contribute that to the community. So,
and that's the best part about Red Hat.
yeah, definitely. The open source spirit is everywhere, even in our tooling. So yeah, finally, there's a last way the MTA can be used, and it is by directly integrating it with your IDE. This feature or this leg of the MTA suite is especially helpful when developers are executing the migration itself. And by that, I mean, on the first steps of the migration project, you get into a large scale analysis of everything. But when there are developers just executing the migration duties, it is very helpful to have the migration hints straight into your code, straight into your IDE. And they get these hints on what needs to be changed and how can that be done directly into their code. This is a great alternative to having the report side by side with your IDE. Instead of having two screens and looking here and looking there, you get the hints straight into your code. And this plugin is currently available on Eclipse in all its flavors. It's also available even on Eclipse Che and on VS Code. And it's really easy to install and to use. And I think Miguel has something to tell about some release.
Yeah.
Just let me get you back the control. If I didn't mess, you should have it.
Yeah. So
There you go.
I mean, you went through the whole story about the application. The good thing, I thank you, Ramon, because the thing is that it's not just what are the features. It's that the features were built, by consultants in many cases, and the rules are being created by consultants, and all the rules are out there. Everything is open source, of course, and we have launched the latest version, 5.0. And the focus is clear. It has always been bringing applications to open source platforms. Right now, we are focusing a bit more into bringing this to OpenShift. Like I say, no pixie dust, just knowing your application, fixing what it requires to be fixed, knowing that everything is going to be okay before getting it, before even starting, if you want to, and then bringing it to OpenShift with confidence. So that's the focus, bringing your applications to OpenShift. And with that, we have been adding some rules. The rules that have come, the new rules that have come with MTA 5.0 are the Apache Camel ones. So if you have Apache Camel, Apache Camel is for integration. It implements a very well-known book called Integration Patterns. And Apache Camel 3 has like a lot of new features, like, I don't know, Camel K that can integrate Camel into Kafka and putting it in a container. So you could do like super cool things like creating like endpoints that will run on a serverless application, things like that, So it's super cool. And the thing is that our Camel team started working with us, and they built 147 rules and in 13 rule sets just for this release. So this is a very important step forward. And these rules are open source, are available for everyone in the Wind Up project, so anyone could take them and consume them. What
and
else?
enhance them and add to
enhance
it.
them and study them, change them, modify them. Yeah, all the benefits of open source. Then the website, okay? We worked a lot on the website to have a fresh new look with more clear content, less content, but more targeted to our developers. So whenever a developer gets to the web page, everything is easier. And we have this cool URL, red.ht/MTA. So anyone can get in there and start looking at it. We have some videos on how to deploy on OpenShift, how to deploy it on your laptop easily. So, well, just go to the website, take a look, download it, and you'll see. What else? We have a Twitter account, just in case you want to engage through social networks. And we'll be posting there anything new that we have around MTA. So if you want to be up to date, just follow this Twitter account, and you'll receive all the updates. And and a bit of what is coming. Okay, we are, as I said, we are working a lot into bringing things to OpenShift, and we are not alone. Okay, my team, the Red Hat Modernization and Migration Solutions, is taking care of moving containers, moving virtual machines, and moving applications. So we have a tool. We had a tool that had its own name, but we are putting all of them together. So now it's Migration Toolkit for Applications. What we are presenting, that is a rebranding of Red Hat Application Migration Toolkit. We have the Migration Toolkit for Containers, which is cool for customers that want to move from OpenShift 3 to 4, from OpenShift 4 to 4. If you have two clusters and you want to move containers, it will help you do it. And then the Migration Toolkit for Virtualization, which will have the tech preview by the end of the year, which is to be able to move virtual machines into OpenShift Virtualization, which was presented very recently. So we are already working on the tool to be able to bring all those VMs that are on VMware and make them run in OpenShift Virtualization easily and massively. You know, you're not going to move one or two. You're probably going to move 100 or 200. So this is the idea. So we have these tools, right? And a bit of the roadmap. Roadmaps are subject to change, or as a friend of mine would like to say, the roadmap is the roadmap until it's not the roadmap. I mean,
it's the roadmap until it's
yeah,
no longer.
yeah. So, or I mean,
it's a great way to put that.
yes. So do make your plans the best way you can, but sometimes the reality hits you hard. Like Mike Tyson says, you know, everybody has plans until they get punched on the face. So,
Yep, exactly.
So yeah, so roadmaps. We have this migration toolkit for applications that is to analyze, and we have another tool that was created by our dear colleagues in consulting that is called Pathfinder to assess the application. And the thing is that you assess the application and you have an application inventory. And what do you do with it? Why don't you take the next step and analyze it? So we're working on putting it all together, having a good application inventory to back it all up. So just start the journey and by assessing the applications, and you do not lose all that data that you have put in your system. So you could go on and analyze the application and check if it's being migrated properly, being able to add the rules and everything. So that's the main goal that we're chasing. And we are adding also a new web UI based on Patternfly 4. I love Patternfly, by the way. My dear four friends in Patternfly, and just letting them know I really like their work, and it will look even better. So we're working on it, and we are bringing an operator to deploy on OpenShift with an operator and be able to upgrade on OpenShift with an operator, which is the way that everybody's doing it right now. And last but not least, and this is probably the feature that I think is going to be most important for 5.1, is we are creating rules to move from Spring Boot to Quarkus. I mean,
Nice.
if you haven't tried Quarkus, go and try it, really.
Yeah,
It's
this Quarkus
yeah,
is so amazing.
yeah, speechless, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's so
It's
fast,
so cool.
so lean, so well thought, and I mean, many people love Quarkus, so why not having some rules to be able to migrate? We are working on 28 rules, very fundamental rules. We have already 14 done, and 2 on the pipeline, and another 12 ready to be worked on. So this is what is coming. This date more or less is November. So let's see if we can have it for my birthday, and that would be it. It would be a nice present for me. And we have this email, migrator@red-hat.com, send questions. I mean, I said also about Twitter. Maybe it's easier by Twitter, but if you have questions, also you can reach us at migrator@red-hat.com. So let me show it to you, okay? So
Awesome.
first, let's go to the website red.ht/mta. So this is the shortcut, just in case you think, okay, let's take a look at.
Drop that in chat.
Yeah. So you have
ht/mta. Off you go, folks.
Yeah. Easy to remember, right?
Yeah, that's insanely easy to remember.
Yeah. So you have a bit of the overview on what it does, a quick overview on the features. Just, step by step, you can take a look at the features. And then, of course, you can check the migration paths. Then you can go and download. So there are several downloads. If you want to get started, we recommend to start with the web console. So you just go here and click on download the web console, and download a zip file, So it's the typical use case for people on middleware on zip and go. So this is it. You download a zip file there, and it's super easy. You have a getting started here with how to install it locally, and how to install it on OpenShift. And then you have a use cases and migration paths. So this is the basic information to know from where to where, the targets and what can be done. So this is what we're already providing. So if you want to move from JBoss EAP 6 to JBoss EAP 7, from JBoss EAP 6 to JBoss EAP 7 on OpenShift, on OpenJDK, so you could do it, this kind of map that could take you. And this is, as you see, not much information, useful information. And of course, there's an Easter egg here at the very end of the downloads page. You have here a video on Marcus Nagel explaining how he used MTA in real world in many migration projects. So for the ones watching, here's your Easter egg. So if you want to go access the documentation, red.ht/mta/docs. Why not, right? Having it, I see accessible. And of course, the Twitter account, that is MTA by Red Hat. So you just go here and you follow it. Super easy. More resources, last but not least, github.com/windup. So you have all the information, all the content, all the rules that we have compiled, put together in this upstream project. You could come here, open one rule set, and just put a PR, a pull request, and say, I would like this rule to be added to the project. So is that easy? We have, of course, we are using Jira to organize ourselves, but you could come here and do a PR or just go through the rules that we currently have. And you have all the rules here available for you to review and see. So
that's awesome.
Let's say that we already, close. Let's say that we already downloaded the zip file, right? So I go to my software MTA, and you see I have all the zip file here, and I have the web distribution, okay? So I normally check it with the SH1, just in case, SH1 zoom, and then whoops, and then I check it. Okay, it's the right one. So you just unzip this, MTA web distribution 5.0 final, because I was testing the beta, and you get this folder with all this content, and here it is. So I have this web distribution final here. I have a running version on my laptop, so it's already here. And OPT MTA web distribution final. So I have it here because I'm a very systems-oriented guy. I like things in OPT if they're going to run in my system. So, yeah, I know. So I just
fine. Everybody has their ways.
Run MTA and this fires up, right? So this is starting, and while it will take it. No, I'll wait. It will take it just some seconds to start. I have a pretty nice laptop. Hopefully, it will be done very quickly. So I can go to my browser, and I go to localhost. I trust my laptop. It's a very good one. So you go to localhost, MTA web, or localhost directly. It will log in automatically. Okay, and I have several migration projects here that I can run. So how does this work? I can create a new project, and I can create Chris Short.
Oh, you're too kind.
Yes, because we can. Okay, next. And then I add the applications, and I have these sample applications. They are available in Windup sample apps. So the same GitHub repository that you find before could be used just to get some applications. So just in case, let me show you, in case you want to do it, github.com. Sorry, I'm terrible in typing. Windup sample apps. And you have them here. You see the sample binaries. This is why I have uploaded, just in case you want to try it yourself. So I uploaded these sample apps, and then I click next. And then I choose, what do I want to do? What do I want to check? Let's say that some applications were built on Windows and I want to check Linux, just in case they have something like a path, a Windows path embedded in the application, it will discover it for me. Or we are using some proprietary class from Oracle JDK. I can check that we are using it by going to OpenJDK. Also the containerization rules. So we made some rules based on the 12-factor apps definition. So if you're using some component that is using shared sessions in a way that is not container friendly, it will tell you. And then EAP, JBoss EAP. So this is also if you're moving to EAP 6 or EAP 7, but it will check also many things that are important for Tomcat servers too. So you select this and you just click on save and run. Of course, you could provide source code instead of binaries, and then it will analyze the applications. So while this is analyzing the applications,
yeah, I was going to ask, how long does that usually take? I mean, it's got to be.
takes a
I mean,
bit.
it's
It
diving
depends.
into the code, right? Like it's got to be intense.
Yeah,
It
it's pretty
depends.
intense. So you see, we already are like 5%.
Okay. I mean, it's okay.
It takes
Cool.
its time. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
lightning fast, but it's not completely slow. Okay,
It has to
Okay, I think
decompile the binaries if you are providing
Right.
binaries. So it takes some time for that. Then it has to run a static analysis.
Yeah.
It takes its time. It's not real time.
If you got a big
Oh.
binary, it's going to take a little bit.
Yeah,
right?
that's it.
Yeah.
you're making me curious. You see, I told you I have a very good laptop.
Ooh,
It's
here we
almost
go.
finished.
What's he going to
Yeah.
download, folks?
Look, so it's not real life, but I mean, these are pretty 5 big applications. It's not small. We have
Right.
one with no issues. You see it here. So this one is like, okay, just move it straight ahead. And we have one with like a lot of issues here with 112 issues. And we have this one, which I've used quite sometimes to demo JBoss EAP. You see that it perfectly runs on JBoss EAP, but if you want to run it on JBoss Web Server, which is our build of Tomcat, you will have to check some things here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you could review all issues of all the applications together. And this is one of the issues, the most common one. You're using a proprietary logger to get all the logs, So
Yeah.
you click in here and it will let you know, look, you'll have to use like a standard logger. And then you could get into the code, change this login, and be able to run it again and check that everything is okay. Then all the technologies that were used, you could like organize them and see what is going to happen more, what is, like a pattern. And then the dependencies graph, this is pretty simple. But you see there are 2 components that are shared. One is this one, another one is this one, migration support and JEE example. So these 2 components are shared between these 2 applications, you see. And then whenever you're going to touch something on one, you know that it's going to affect others. And then the list of the dependencies one by one. So just in case you want to go through them
That's nice.
in a step-by-step basis.
And it actually links to every one too, so that's nice. Yeah.
Yes. And then you could go to one simple application, one of them, and then have all the information, the incidents by category, the story points, the mandatory incidents by category. So the story points are very well documented in the official documentation. You have to go to the CLI, and there's a full appendix for it telling you how we assign the story points. It's not the first time that a customer goes through it and says, I'm going to use this myself. Oh, please do, So this is what you have for one application. So for a developer, this is a static web page that they could have on their own laptop for an application that they could review and go issue by issue, checking it and then rerunning it and seeing that all the issues are disappearing. And then if you want to put them in a, Jira thing, and then assign story points to assign timeframes and so on, it also helps. Many things about the application details, So the tags that were found that are helping you find common issues, and then the technologies used for these applications. Again, the dependencies graph is just for this application. If we found something unparsable, which is not that uncommon, the list of dependencies, Java beans, remote services that are consumed, server resources. So you see that it's very comprehensive. And I like this. This is like going down the history lane, you know.
Yeah,
The
It's
initial use case for
application. What is it called? Archaeology. Yeah.
yes, it's like you put
Yeah.
your helmet on, right? So
Yeah.
in, this tool was initially created for upgrades, JBoss upgrades, you know. And the thing is that there is still some value in that. So we keep this tattletale to give like the all information that you could have that we used to use for JBoss upgrades. And then of
Nice.
course ignore faults and that's it. So with this you have like a splendid overview on what is it. But the thing is like, okay, I know that you like to see more things, you know. So you already have OpenShift in your environment. So you log into your environment and it's like, I want to run this on OpenShift, Miguel. You know, I want to have one instance of this running for everyone. So this is my own account. So I go and copy the login command. So this is what you would do. You just download the same file, the same zip file, um, the web console uh, zip file, and then you go here in your OpenShift and you log in. Okay, so I'm logging in OpenShift. I'm not doing anything else. I'm stopping my local instance and then logging into OpenShift. So first I'll see who am I, and well, forbidden, nothing there, nothing to see here. Move along. I will change that. So you see that now I see OC who am I, and you'll see that it's my username, right? So if I go into the same folder, okay, MTA web, and then here you see that there's one OpenShift folder. Okay, so I go to OpenShift, and you have here one file that is deploy.sh that this will deploy for you MTA on OpenShift 3.11, on OpenShift 4, whatever, okay? So how will it deploy it? Well, you can take a look at deployment properties and you will see, you know, the database volume, the name of the project, the CPUs that you're going to assign to this, the memory that you're going to assign to that, all the information that you want to do here. If you keep it as it is, you just run deploy and it will start deploying it. See, it will create a project for you, MTA. It will switch to the project and it will take the template, run the template, and it will create the application on OpenShift. So in here, what we have is that now we have this MTA project. So before this, as it takes quite some time, I already run the MTA project.
Sure.
You see?
Completely
so
reasonable.
like in a cooking show.
Cooking show. We only have an hour here, you know. I mean,
Yeah, so let's see. And I did it quite fast, though. It may have failed. Okay, everything is running.
Cool.
So,
I mean, we embrace failure, but cool, everything's working.
yeah, so we have here the MTA web console. I mean, this environment is very resource limited. So probably the other, it's going to take quite a long time to run. And you see here that we have the pods running, everything monitoring. You have the liveness proof, and you have two routes to access this. I'm going to use the secure MTA route, and in here it's accessing. So
It's
come on,
your local machine, you said, right?
excuse me.
It's your local machine, you said, right? This is running
No,
on,
this
or
is
is this?
the,
I'm sorry, I misread the URL. There you go. Okay. Yeah.
yes,
It's actually in the
running
cloud.
on
AWS.
in the cloud. Exactly.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah. Oh boy.
So
Might have
normally
just broke my
when
mic
you
arm
see
again.
this has finished, and it lets you know, go to this URL, you see, and you can run and enter with MTA and password. So let me go here and put MTA and password. Okay, these are the default ones. They can be changed, of course. And you log in and then you have this running for the whole team. And of course I created a project for you again. See, Chris project.
Look at you.
And I have my applications analyzed here,
So
and I'm
nice.
accessing it without having to run it on my laptop, so it's fully available. and I did the same test, so you could check them here on OpenShift. This is running. This is all running on OpenShift on these containers, and these are static pages that are set by OpenShift, but they could be regenerated by analyzing the applications again if they have changes. So you could track all the changes in your environment. So this is how you would run it and how you would use it. And this is what it comes with it and how it works. So I hope it was useful for you and for everyone.
Useful
and
for
now,
me.
if there are any questions, we can take them.
Yeah, like I mean, there were some questions about like what is camel. You know, I answered some in the stream, but there's nothing specific to MTA right now. So folks, if you got any questions for two very smart people from Red Hat, please feel free to ask. But MTA is here to help you modernize your infrastructure, right? Like everybody's trying to modernize. We've realized that we can help you with that in a more systematic fashion. And that is the output here. And we share the rules to help make that happen as well. So it's one of those beautiful things about Red Hat, I feel like.
Yeah. So let me show you another thing, okay? Now that we have time. So
sure.
Let's say that you want to deploy MTA, but in more or less manually, okay? Not with a script, but you want to go MTA template. Let's use a template. This is pretty straightforward, right? So we create this new project, and then we go to the developer console in OpenShift, and you say, okay, let's go and say, I want to create something via YAML. This is a feature that I love about OpenShift. You know, and you go to the files, and you go to your MTA web distribution final, and you go to OpenShift, and there's templates here, right? So you could get your template, and this template could be also added to your cluster-wide, you know? So anyone could discover it in your OpenShift environment and say, okay, I want to run an instance for my team. So you could go and say, okay, I'm doing it in a project, not in the default project or a project that could be accessed by anyone, but it's my own project. So you could do it also as a developer yourself. So I just drag and drop here the YAML definition for MTA. Click create, and then I have the template added to my system. So I could click on add, and then go to the catalog, and then here search for MTA. Oops, did I give it enough time?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Catalog.
There
you go. Oops.
Try with other.
Okay, operator.
Oh yeah, you got something selected.
Okay.
Whoops.
Okay, I was about to go hacker
the
mode,
magic
okay?
checkbox.
Okay, so you click on an MTA and just go instantiate template. And the good thing is that all the options that you had before and some more, you could just choose them here, you know? You go the application name, the number of CPUs, the memory that you're going to assign to each one of them. I mean, there are like three pods that get created. One of them is the web interface. Another one is the executor that is going to do the analysis. And the third one is a PostgreSQL database, as simple as that. So you can assign here memory to the web console, to the front end, assign memory to the back end. So if you're going to do like a huge amount of analysis, you could increase this. And then you could go to the volume capacity that you're going to assign to this. Again, if you're going to analyze many applications, you will probably want to change this. The database name, you could use an external database if you want to. And then database password, major stream, all the options that you're going to use. You could use SSO to integrate it in your validation. So if the users are already logged in via SSO, they could directly access the application without having to enter their password again and reuse their credentials. So all of this done, you click on create, and it will just start launching the pods for you. So that would be another way to deploy MTA And as I said, we're working also on having an operator, so you can just go to add, go to the catalog, put it there, and find it on Operator Hub, or find it on the default operators by OpenShift, which is what we would like to have, to be able to provide this to all the developers that are using. Oops, sorry.
Oh gosh, what are you
Are
sharing
using,
now?
now you have a screenshot of my calendar. Okay.
Okay,
So,
no big deal.
now
You're a
you're
busy
going
guy.
now you know where you're going to know when I'm going to visit the dentist. So
Right.
this is another way to to deploy MTA on OpenShift for everyone that wants to use it.
Nice.
And
That's cool.
so
That's awesome.
Any other questions that people may have?
No,
No.
there's no questions in chat right now. I mean, we have plenty of people on too, so it seems like you've done a good job explaining how this helps people.
Well, happy to know. Happy to know.
So,
Yeah,
so yeah,
yeah.
from a user's perspective, I want to say that the tool really helps reducing the risks of a big migration project on the technical side. There are other aspects that have to be tackled on, but the technical side of the migration, it is really crucial for this kind of projects, having this kind of tool. And it has saved our lives like many times. And it's getting better. You know, the latest release is just the best, you know.
Yeah, we're not gonna put out crap. I mean, to be fair. So where can people find more? red.ht/MTA, right?
Yes, you could go to red.ht/MTA, and you will find again the intro video. That is, here is just 5 minutes to tell you what it is. So you want to share it with some colleagues and to get to know some information about it. And then you have more videos here in getting started on documentation with the web console, how to deploy. I mean, all the information that I've been giving you on how to do it. You could go and check a video here that shows you step by step how to do it, to install
Very
locally,
nice.
but it's unzip and run the MTA.sh. Also how to install it on OpenShift. You have a video here, have plenty of documentation. There's even a rules development guide for people who would like to see to create new rules, all the information on how to create
Perfect.
new rules.
Yeah. If you want to
see?
create your own new rule, contribute it and everything, make sure it's valid,
Yeah.
all the docs.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
And sometimes, I mean, for some companies, it's like, oh, we have our own framework
Right.
running on Spring Boot, and we want to adapt to this framework. So they could just check which rules they could create and even have their own internal wiki and be able to point their own developers to the internal wiki with instructions on how to use this specific class that is in this specific framework that we're using. So the people do not repeat things twice.
Yeah. Shared learning. That's what we're all about here.
So the thing is that how do you share that learning? How do you discover the same issue in different places? You need a way to detect it, to review it, detect it, and to highlight it. And this is what MTA does for customers. So
that's awesome.
On top of that, there's a piece of documentation that I would like to show you. We have created a Keybase article based on a gist from a consultant, Andy Krug. He created this, saying, okay, these are the rules about cloud, about containerization, and he went one by one and he explained, he gave a little explanation on each one of them, reviewing, you see, session replication, the optional rules, anything, the mail API, why this is. So he put it all together and we pinged him and told him, hey, Andy, do you mind if we reuse this as an official token of documentation? So we have a very active technical writer, Avital. He talked to him and in 2 days, he had it published as a knowledge-based article. So you can go there and visit it. So yes, this is what we do, collaborate, help each other, put it all together, show it outside so everyone can access it, and helping people move their applications and modernize them.
That's awesome. thank you so much, Miguel. Thank you so much, Ramon, for joining us today. Right, like I feel like I've learned a lot about MTA and what it can do for us, and as you know, Red Hat, as organizations evolve, right, like incorporating this as part of their modernization journey makes a whole lot of sense. So thank you so much for bringing that to us today. Yeah, even the chat is just thanking you. So you're doing great. And without any further questions, I just wrapping up here. Anything else, Miguel, Ramon, you want to share real quick?
No, just thank you for having us here. You know, it's always
Oh,
fun
no
to come
problem. We're very happy to have you, Miguel, and both of you, Ramon and Miguel. You know, it's always great to have new faces on this channel and from new places as well, right? So yeah, we really appreciate you coming on. So to give you an idea what else is going on today here on OpenShift TV, we have an AMA on advanced cluster management with the one and only Scott Behrens from the Red Hat Advanced Cluster Management team. So at noon today Eastern, that is in France, that is 1800 UTC. That should be 1600, I believe. Noon UTC, yes, 1600. So noon Eastern, 1600 AMA on advanced cluster management, and then later today at 4 p.m. Eastern, 2000 UTC. Always sounds weird saying 2000 UTC, but anyways, we're going to be talking about air-gapped AWS Gov environments. So that should be pretty interesting. So definitely stay tuned. Subscribe to our calendar, folks, if you're not already. Check us out on OpenShift.tv. We really appreciate you tuning in today, and we look forward to seeing you in the future. Thank you all so much for joining. Really appreciate it. Bye, everyone. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.